What's popping? What's dropping? This your boy live and direct in full effect after 832. Y'all already know how I do. I'm live and direct with my boy after 662, and y'all already know how he do. What's popping and what's dropping, Greg?
Man, not much, man. Started trying to recover from this cold. Still my voice still a little bit raspy and still got a little effects of a cough, but got there and trying to get that on out the way. But man, we're gonna go ahead and get this show on the road. We're gonna be talking about talking about a couple of things because we're on a short in a short time frame. So what we're gonna talk about first, McWright?
Well, we're gonna talk about this SEC championship. And I can say I told you so to an extent, but not this ass whooping
Yeah.
that uh that Georgia received. Now I knew that Georgia's offense was gonna be their Achilles heel, and that's what happened. Their offense was their Achilles heel. I expected more of a 3-point game, but it turned out to be a big 17-point ass whooping. And he made a Heisman Trophy pose on their asses. Our boy, our boy, what's the guy from Alabama? Damn, I'm
Bryce
all getting
Young.
up. Bryce Young. He made a Heisman Trophy pose on him. Um, made very little mistakes in the game, if any. And Georgia's offense, um, it was their Achilles heel. Simple point blank period in the discussion. It was their Achilles heel. Stinson Bennett, he threw for damn near 400 yards, but you threw two interceptions. So what is your take on this game, man?
I
From
was
what you saw.
I was right about Stetson Bennett. I was
Yep.
right. I said it. And in fact, their offense was exposed against Tennessee. I didn't watch the game, but Jimmy watched it. I didn't expect this to be an ass whooping either, but damn, uh, Bama had a point to prove. Bama had a point to prove last night.
Right.
Bama had a point to prove last night. Shit, Bryce Young, he did his thing, and also you got to give credit to the offensive line too, because they wore Georgia's defense, they pass rush out, man. So, shit, I'm put it like this. I was expecting what you, myself, and shout out to Corey Wolf saw. When was that? In 2018 and 19, I think. Justin Fields' last, yeah, 2018. Justin Fields' first and last game. So, yeah, Corey liked my post on Facebook. But man, but you know, now with these college football playoffs is announced, um, Georgia has the fortunate but not so fortunate pleasure in playing shits again. Stetson Bennett gonna have to step up, bro. I like Georgia. I ain't a fan of them. I like them. They're gonna have to step up
Yeah.
because from what Michigan showed me last night, damn. And I keep telling you and Corey Wolf ever since when Mike Hart got on the staff to coach the running backs and coordinate the running backs in the offense.
Hmm.
You notice it's been less talk about Jim Harbaugh, right?
Yeah, because Harbaugh was on the cusp of probably getting fired, and
Yeah,
I'm
because he's doing
surprised.
fuck shit. And I noticed in this game last night, he wasn't because I got sick of him handicapping the offense. But it looked like from last night and most of this season, he decided to take the handcuffs off.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
rightfully so. Rightfully so. I just hope he don't do it against Georgia. But you said that's a trap game, Michigan and Georgia. I can't make a pick on that. But we got Alabama and Cincinnati. I'll say this. Desmond Ritter, you got your hands full, buddy.
Yeah, that pretty much was unfair for them. They was like, Cincinnati, if you gonna show us you the best team in the nation, you got to beat Alabama. But here's the thing about this game, about Alabama. I believe Alabama's gonna win, but there's a slight chance that Cincinnati could win. Force Alabama into some turnovers. That's your only chance. If you can't force Alabama in some turnovers, because you don't want to get into a shootout, that's going to play Alabama's way.
That's impossible. I'll be
you
honest with you. That's gonna be impossible. That's gonna be impossible to force Alabama to turnovers. If you let me put
turnovers is
like let me put
turnovers is
like
gonna
well, let me
they're
put
gonna
like this. The only way I see Cincinnati beating Alabama is if they apply the Bill Belichick rule for when the Patriots won the 2001 Super Bowl when they beat the Rams. You know what I mean by that, right? Uh, St. Louis Rams, greatest show on turf. That season, they led the league in points, total yards, and everything else, right?
right.
Okay. Belichick shut that shit down by he didn't use no base defense. He used bump and run coverage, meaning disrupting timing. I ain't
Yeah,
saying force the turnovers. If you disrupt, I ain't going against my boy now. Now I'm gonna talk about Alabama in a minute, but Cincinnati, if they want to beat Alabama, they got to disrupt the wide receivers' timing with Bryce Young and make them run. Kind of like I said in the spin of what Belichick did with the Rams against the Rams in 2001 Super Bowl. And
but that resulted in turnovers. That resulted in at least 4 turnovers
no,
in the Super Bowl.
I don't think they turned the ball over in that
Yes,
game.
they yes they
In that
did.
Super
Yes, they
Bowl,
did.
they did.
Yes, they
Okay,
did. Yes, they did. So
okay,
that's gonna
but
they're gonna have to force turnovers. If it
okay, or they can do what they did against the K Gun offense in the '90 Super Bowl against the Bills. Remember, I told you that story with the Bill. If you ever watched the 30 for 30 Bill and Bill, when Lawrence Taylor said in the game plan meeting, he said, "Okay, the game plan is this: we're gonna let Thurman Thomas get his over 100 yards rushing. That's it." And that was the meeting. And Lawrence Taylor like, "That's it, that's it." But then when they figured out, like, oh, okay. So what they did, they let Thurman Thomas get over 100 yards rushing, and they shut down Andre Reed, James Lofton, and they shut them boys down. They wouldn't let them get the ball or nothing.
but you don't want to play that against Alabama. You don't want to try that against
But not
Alabama.
against Bama. Now for Bama to beat Cincinnati, Cincinnati has a weakness nobody ain't talking about. You ever notice in all the games that when Desmond Ritter gets the ball, he takes off run all the time, right?
He's gotten a little bit better with that this year, though. That's the thing. You
Okay. Cincinnati's offensive line on the weak side is suspect.
okay? Now you're talking. Yeah. Now I agree with that.
They offensive line on the weak side is a little suspect.
Right.
Also defensively, for Bama to beat Cincinnati, defensively with Cincinnati, and also well, Bama against Cincinnati first, you're going to have to put some, apply a lot of pressure on Desmond Ritter because that weak side offensive line is a weakness. That's why he takes off run all the time and he throws. And Desmond don't throw to the flats too much. I notice that sometimes he'll throw to the flats. So if you cover the flats, you put some pressure on that weak side. No, and don't neglect the strong side, or let alone disguise your blitzes. Desmond Ritter's it's like mud in your hands. So that's where I see, and like you said, yes, for Cincinnati to beat Bama, like we both said, you got to have to play bump and run. And also, offensive, it's tip for tat. I got Bama to win. Now, if it be a blowout,
Which I see that's happening.
which I see is happening, it will be. Because Cincinnati has a losing record against SEC teams.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Cincinnati, I mean, Alabama does have a history of losing to mid-major teams, even though a lot of the teams that are now mid-major teams were once
Yeah,
mid-major teams.
Utah.
There, Utah and
Yeah, I
Louisville.
watched that ass whooping.
In Louisville, even though that the Louisville team that the team that Louisville beat, Alabama team Louisville beat was 7-5 in the
Right.
in the Fiesta Bowl,
Yeah,
but
that
they
was years
still
ago.
had but they still had Sam Shade and George Teague on that team
Hmm.
before they came into their primes at Alabama. So you know, yeah, Alabama. I mean, Cincinnati have made you know because of the schedule. They had a couple of close ones. Utah, aka USlaw. Uh, they had a couple of close ones, but they really didn't have a threat other than because they beat the hell out of Notre Dame, aka Ultra Lame, in the words of Corey Wolf. So I mean,
Yeah.
they're gonna have to force them in some turnovers. They're gonna have to force them in some early mistakes. They can't sit there and they're gonna have to force them in some mistakes because
Yeah.
otherwise, if you don't force Alabama to turn the ball over, and like you say, they're gonna have to disrupt the timing, but they're gonna have to if they're gonna disrupt the timing, they're gonna have to force them in some major mistakes. Otherwise, they're gonna lose, and it's not gonna be pretty. It's
Right.
not gonna be it's not gonna be a pretty it's not gonna be a pretty sight because this game could get out of hand, just like we saw with Georgia,
Yes.
uh, who has a way better defense than Cincinnati. Cincinnati giving up 28 points to South Florida. They give up 20 to Tulsa. Damn near lost the Tulsa game. Uh, they gave up 24 to Indiana. I don't think Indiana's even in a bowl game. So
No, Indiana. They fired their offensive coordinator, and
understandable.
yeah, because and I'm at send you a link. You had to get on this site. It's called newtopiasports.com and go into the forums and go into the college football discussion. Man, you'll love that shit. Cause
You know.
I
Hmm.
forgot. I'm gonna pull it up right now. I forgot who the dude said when I made the announcement about that. Um, but I'm gonna do a little special take on the wheel. I take the wheel. I'm gonna take the wheel on Jim Harbaugh, and it's gonna be in a good way. No, well, I'm gonna say that for later, man. I'm gonna say that for later. But what we said, we ain't gonna talk about Georgia and Michigan, but that game can go. We just already said it. That game can go either way.
That's an either way game because
That's an either way game because oh, I thought that was my job. Text me saying we got a VTO available. I sure won't take it. But and it's an either way game, and it's Tiffin, and it's and put it like this: Michigan is ace of spades, and Georgia's ace of clubs. Okay,
right,
they have some. Michigan got some quarterback issues too, from what I've
right.
seen. But ever since, and you and Corey Wolf kept ignoring me about it. Ever since when Mike Hart left Indiana to go back to his alma mater at Michigan to coach the running backs and to coordinate the running game, this Haskins dude been on fucking fire, man. He been on fire. And what they did to Iowa,
Well, you got to think about it. Jim
whew,
Harbaugh have been recruiting SEC level talent for
but
the
he was
last.
handicapped. But the problem with Harbaugh was he kept handicapping his offense.
True, but he's been recruiting SEC level talent for all these ever since he came there. So he's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to. Michigan is supposed to be this good. The only thing that had been stopping them was Whole State University and Jim's hard slaw. In the words of Corey Wolf, Jim hard slaw. When he fucking up, he's hard slaw. You know what I'm saying? So they're supposed to be this good. You've had I think one of those years they've had like the number 2 or number 3 recruiting class in one of these years. So you're
Yep.
supposed to be this damn good. It ain't, yeah, the running back coach, Mike Hart coming in. That's made some difference. But dude, you've had you've been up there with the SEC teams
Yep.
in terms of recruiting. Matter of fact, in some of those years, he's recruited better talent than Ohio State. So I'm not shocked by this at all. Every year that, on the exception of 2 of those years, Michigan has been at least in the top 10, no worse than the top 10 except 1 year since he's been there. So that
Right.
so you're supposed to be this good. And that's the reason why I pick, I'm calling this a I give Georgia the slight edge, but if Michigan fucks around and win this game, I'm not gonna be shocked because they have the talent and now their coaching is coming together. So Michigan versus Alabama in the championship game, being that they have a little low key rivalry too. So that's
And
the
it's a
thing.
good one. It's
Yeah,
a good one.
they have a little closet rivalry between each other because Michigan has the second most national titles in history. Because they're tied right now. They're tied with USC because SC got that violation, but some would argue SC is number two. Uh, Along, I think Ultra Lame is up there too, but
Yeah.
most of Michigan's championships come before the 1970s. And
Right.
then it was a couple of
And
those years. Couple of
hold that
those years.
thought. And let
Mhm.
me let me give a quick shout out to my old boss, from my previous past employer from 6 years ago, Bill Levesque. He's a Michigan fan. When Michigan whooped Ohio State, and boy, the stadium was still rocking. When he said, he said, man, I wish I was at that stadium right now. They were partying down, bro. They were partying down and everything. And then they went it so far. Somebody decided to put the Gap Band. Everybody get the party train.
Right.
Man, man. I mean, but shoot. But if it be in Alabama, I'll put it like this. It, like you said, the Michigan and Georgia, it's a trap game. It go either way.
Right.
In games like that, I love it. Give us some original matchups. We ain't seen some of these bowl games. They've given us matchups, man. I'm like ESPN used to make me sick. They always hype up. I remember when Auburn played Oregon in the championship game. They talking about we may see a shootout between these two teams. No, we didn't. We
Right.
saw a defensive game, and they were
And you
so pissed off.
and you could fuck around and see this versus Michigan. I mean, them losing to Michigan State, being that's an in-state rivalry game. I mean, every once in a while, Michigan State's gonna come with some bullshit versus them. So I'm
Okay,
not sure.
yeah, with Michigan State beating Michigan losing Michigan State sometimes that's a good loss.
Yeah.
Like I said about the Mark Few and the Proud. I mean, they had lost 2 games already.
Right.
They lost to the Puke Devils and to Nate Quakos in Alabama.
Right.
Okay, them good losses. And what a lot of people ain't sleeping on. And by the way, we gonna do college football, basketball talk next month.
Right.
Y'all keep your eye on Nate Oates in Alabama. I ain't finna be about Alabama basketball fan, but that dude doing a hell of a good job.
Right.
But shit.
Yeah.
Okay, what the hell is going on my internet?
Yeah. So the last time they played Georgia was 1965, Michigan
Wow.
versus Alabama. So it's 1-1 series.
Okay.
So
Michigan
so
and
that
Alabama.
I
Michigan
mean
or Georgia? You mean Michigan and Georgia?
Michigan and Georgia. That's what I mean, brother. Because Michigan last played Michigan in. I know Tom Brady beat them one of those years.
It was in the
Yeah,
2000 Citrus Bowl.
correct. And they have
I
currently a
think
two-year.
no, it was in let me
No,
see, Alabama versus Michigan football rival. Hold up. I don't know what the fuck going on. I keep telling my mom she need to change her internet, man. Shit. She got
okay,
AT&T, but
okay,
AT
they beat.
well,
Okay, Michigan beat them in '88. Alabama beat them in '97. Tom Brady beat them in 2000, and the last two games have pretty much been Alabama kicking their ass. So
the last game they beat the shit out of Denard Robinson because Denard Robinson was talking all that shit. They beat the shit out of that boy. That was the last win was in 2012. So It was 3-2 Bama. The first game was in '88. Michigan won in Tampa. The coaches both Schembecker and Bama had Bill Curry. Then Bama won in '97. Michigan had Lloyd Carr and Alabama had Mike DeBose. I
Right.
think he was the one that got caught. No, that was Dennis
No,
Francione. He got caught.
no,
That
no,
was
no. That was Mike DeBose. That was clearly Mike
oh,
DeBose with that Albert
oh that was
Means
Mike.
situation. That was Mike. That's the reason why he left. Mike DeBose left because of the Albert Means situation. Yep, that's
Okay,
correct.
no, I was about to talk about something else. I know Mike DeBose about the Albertine situation, but Dennis Francione went to a damn strip club right after he was named football coach, and that's when Mike Shula took over. I'm like, damn.
I mean, who? I mean, that's not a strip club. I mean, okay, okay. What guy ain't doing that shit? I mean, okay.
All right, then Michigan won 35-34. Lloyd Carr, Mike DeBose. Uh, Michigan beat them again. In Arlington, Brady Hoke was the coach. Yeah, Denard Robinson deserved that ass whooping. Okay, yeah, we beat them in the playoff last year, 35-16.
Yeah, the
Could have
Citrus
won the
Bowl.
national championship. Yep.
The Citrus
So Nick
Bowl. But
Saban
yeah,
is 1-0 against Harbaugh.
yeah.
So
But
let's
like I
see.
say, they like I say, you're dealing with two teams with the most national championships. Depending on who you're talking to anyway. But they're definitely number two. But like I say, most of Michigan's championships come before the '70s. However, I'm at to preference this as well.
Okay,
Let me
we're
bring.
5-0 against Cincinnati.
Oh,
Yeah, we 5-0 against Cincinnati because the first game was back in 1908, and the last time we played them was in 1990. Bama won 45-7. Tim Murphy was the coach for Cincinnati, and Gene Stallings was the coach for Alabama. They were all blowouts.
I mean, this should be a blowout because they're not on talent. We're talking about a discrepancy in talent. Versus now, if you're talking about Georgia versus Alabama or Alabama versus Michigan, there's not a major
Hell no.
discrepancy. There's not a major discrepancy because one of those years, I think Michigan was like number two or number three. So there's not a major discrepancy in talent. So Michigan has a chance to beat Alabama if they get past Georgia. Hell,
Yep.
I'll go as far as this. Georgia has a chance of beating them in spite of losing the SEC. They have a
Yep.
they have a chance, but again, with that trash ass Stinson Bennett, he's not. I don't see that. I mean, but it can happen. You
I
know what
got
I'm
a new
saying?
nickname for Stetson Bennett. Stetson, I'm never in it, Bennett.
Yeah. But with Michigan history, Michigan, it was a couple of those years in the '70s where Michigan should have won a national title because they went undefeated a couple of times under Schembeckler, and they didn't get the because back in the day you had only three or four at best. You may had 10 bowl games. Now you have like 86 bowl games right now. Because they've added some bowl games because it was so many teams bowl eligible. They was like, hey, let's go on and get these guys, and that's more money for the school. So I think the bowl selection committee for doing a good job of getting bringing revenue in the university. But back in the day, you only had 10 bowl games at best. So Michigan was left out a couple of those years too. So really Michigan, you could argue Michigan could have 13 or 15 national titles had it not been for the old UPI poll, the biased ass polls and stuff like that.
Oh God, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Because one of
Yeah,
those
and
years,
the UPI Scripps Howard.
yeah, because one of those years, Michigan had a black quarterback, their first black quarterback, and they went undefeated, and they ended up in a tie versus Ohio State, which I think Ohio State ended up getting the nod one of those years, going to the Rose Bowl, and Michigan was undefeated that year, and they left Michigan completely out. So we also have to preference that those 11 national titles, Michigan, you could argue could have like 10, could easily have 13 or 15 national titles. But again, that's like I say, if they play Michigan, that's a dangerous game for Alabama. Uh, I'm saying it now, but I'm gonna be rooting for Alabama, because I like Bryce Young. I love what
Yep.
I seen. I like what I see in that kid. That kid should win the Heisman. If Bryce Young do not win the Heisman, I don't want to hear nothing else about the Heisman for the rest of my life, motherfucker.
Nothing.
Because he beat the number one defense on multiple sides of the ball. You said it first. They have more number one. He made them boys look like the worst defense in college football.
I'll put
If
it
he
like
don't win
this.
a Heisman,
Hey, you remember when Dan Marino gave you a flashback when the '85 Bears went to Miami and played Dan Marino, right?
uh-huh.
Bear, Bears had the number one defense in the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don Shula had a strategy. Spread them out, see what they do. Man, Dan Marino tore their ass up.
Right.
So I ain't saying Bryce Young did some Dan Marino like shit. He made Georgia questioning whether they are number one defense or not.
Well, again, teams were not taking advantage of of the holes on offense because when you got a defense that's solid, I mean, defensively, all you got to do, because like they only average, I think they only average like 60 yards a drive. So that means they're damn near in the opponent's territory the minute they forces a turnover. So all you got to do is drive 40 or 50 yards to at least kick a field goal. When you're at the opponent's 40 all the damn time or the opponent's 50-yard line, that makes it easier for you to score. So that's come on, man. But anyway, but again,
That was accidental, bro.
as I stated, if you only got to drive at your own 40-yard line, all you need is 40 or 50 yards to at least kick a field goal. So just imagine your defense is on their heels the minute they commit a turnover. So I mean that's sixth ranking, because I mentioned this Wednesday. They were ranked sixth in the nation in scoring. But that's a deceptive thing because
Yeah,
you're not
yeah,
driving all the way down the field. Go ahead.
right. Because I told a buddy of mine, Adrian, not that guy Adrian Williams, is another agent. He drives for FedEx. I told him yesterday. I said the reason why they six in scoring because of the running game.
That enforcing turnovers in the
So
middle of the field. So yeah,
I
you.
mean,
Mhm.
somebody gonna have to Kirby, and you gotta give props to Kirby Smart, man.
Mhm.
But with somebody like with a guy, you getting all these little motherfuckers, these quarterbacks like Stetsons, and you gonna name your son after Cologne and all this other shit. Man, you gotta get on these guys, you gotta get on these damn quarterback coaches. Cause if it was me and if I know my quarterback holding my offense back, I would tell my quarterback coach, hey, he need to get on his ass and have him work hard.
Well,
Straight up.
he's not even supposed to be the quarterback any friggin' way. So
Cause it's
that's
supposed to be JT Daniels.
yeah, but I think he got hurt sometime this year. So I think
Yep.
that's they're not even he's not playing. But nevertheless, man, that Michigan game, that's a very tough game to predict. Georgia a slight edge, but again, if Michigan kicks their ass, uh, I would
Man.
I wouldn't be surprised. But that could be that's a dangerous game for both teams because that's a
Yep.
very the talent discrepancy again. Even though Georgia has been number one in recruiting the last 2 years, arguably, because some of those recruiting sites say Alabama is so, but we'll just say for the sake of conversation, Georgia. The thing is, like I say, there's not a major talent discrepancy. Whereas
Right.
in Cincinnati game, there is a major talent discrepancy. There's a hell of a talent discrepancy because you've had on some polls, Bryce Young was like the number one quarterback, if not no worse than the top five quarterback, depending on who you're saying. So, and they're looking at going against the Heisman Trophy winner. And this kid,
Yep.
what's crazy about Bryce Young is he's getting better every fucking game.
Yep.
So that's what's crazy. He's getting better. In spite he's held this team down in spite of the defense. The defense was been playing like shit for most of the year. Now the defense is finally coming along. You know, this could be, like I say, this game. If Nick Saban don't play Nick Savaho, they're gonna beat the shit out of
which he
Cincinnati.
needs to stop. I
Yeah.
don't. He get well. He. I don't want him being as worse with that shit as Bobby Bowden was. When Bobby Bowden publicly admitted he gave some national championships away. When you do that, I fire your ass. You gonna admit you do some shit like that, man? I'm firing your ass.
Well, he's saying he's speaking from a game plan perspective. I don't think he deliberately like. I don't think he would ever deliberately give a game away. But he's probably talking about from a game plan perspective. And you ain't gonna fire Bobby Bowden. Shit, he is Florida State.
That's just me just talking, man. You know,
Yeah,
I ain't
he is Florida State. So like shit. I mean, but nevertheless, I see Alabama winning very easy. That's easy work for Alabama, in my opinion. But we could be wrong. But again, Cincinnati's going to have to force them in a situation where not only they're committing turnovers, but they're capitalizing off those turnovers. They're going to have to
yep.
every turnover Alabama get is going to have to be 7 points. It can't be no fucking field goals like you did against Georgia, where you was forcing them into field goals. No, you got to score touchdowns. You got to score touchdowns, and if you can't do that, just kiss your national championship title, and don't come complaining to the selection committee. Well, we got robbed. No, you did, motherfucker. You didn't take advantage of the opportunity. So if Cincinnati better take advantage, if they got an ounce of a chance, but because I don't see it. If they do, you like I say, force them in situations, throw off the timing, uh, and don't and really and shut down their run, shut down Alabama's run because you're not gonna try if Alabama runs for 200 yards, they can kiss this game goodbye. Point blank.
Yep.
Period. End of discussion. You know what I'm
But
saying? So
see, here's another little spin to the trap game. That's why I said that Michigan is the ace of spades. Okay.
right,
Don't think
right,
Jim Harbaugh ain't got. Don't think Jim Harbaugh and already got some game film
hmm
on this champ on Georgia against Bama.
right,
Knowing Jim, he didn't got some game film.
right.
So, like I said, it can go either way. We also got to expect some bowl matchups coming up. So we ain't gonna talk about that till later because ESPN is just about as slow as snail shit on some of that stuff. So yep. But
hmm
yeah, I was damn.
Yeah, that was my fault right there. That
Hold on a sec. Hold on. Oh shit! Damn.
Yeah, man.
Okay, I apologize, y'all. Yeah,
Yeah, for
hate to
sure.
hate to be the spoiler alert. Nose has started bleeding for some reason. Shit.
Might be your blood pressure, brother. Ain't it? But you might be your
Yeah.
blood pressure. That's what it looks. That what it sound like.
No, I
But
was
no.
rubbing my nose. Well, I was rubbing my nose and stuff. That's what treated. So, it's like this second time I did something like that, but I'll be okay.
Yeah. But no. It's that these playoff games. Other than Alabama, the play it should be interesting. Other than Alabama, because I think Alabama just gonna be a straight ass whooping. Versus
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, yeah, Cincinnati, because they're gonna shit on themselves when they find out what hits them, they're gonna be out of there. I think
Yep.
they gonna be angry by the time they get off the field, they're gonna be mad as hell. So
I mean, even if they went up against Georgia, they still would have had a bad draw. But I mean, Cincinnati. Hey, I look at it like this. Y'all, they've been begging about Cincinnati, been crying and begging about won't get into the playoff and stuff like that. Hey, y'all in it now, so here you go.
well, they should have gotten in it last year. I mean, we need to know how good they really are. That's the thing. I don't think
True.
I wouldn't even call that crying. I think that's more like they had a legit argument. My thing is, you're in it now, so you gotta produce. So that's the thing. You gotta produce. So I think that's a good thing that they got in, but they going up against the best. So in order to be the best, you got to beat the best. So
Yep,
that's gonna be the
I
situation for
said
them.
it. In order to
And
be
if
the
they beat,
best, you gotta beat the best. And in order for you to stay number one, in order for you to stay number one and be number one, you got to win it all as number one. So
right, and not only that, they're gonna have to, like I say, if they beat Alabama, that could change their whole recruiting. That could change recruiting for them. So that makes it, now they're in a situation where they can uh compete against Ohio State on a recruiting level. But if they lose, hey, they're gonna be like, you should have lost. So, but I mean,
yeah,
again, unless they put themselves in a predicament to where they're forcing them in a turnover prone situation and forcing the issue, they out of there. In my opinion, they're pretty much out of there. So we'll see.
oh, most definitely. Uh, man, what did you think about before I move on to the new subject? And sorry for the hold up, y'all. Uh, okay, a little bit better now. Um, what did you think of the Grizzlies setting that record the other night?
Mm, being that Choklahoma is arguably their biggest rival, that doesn't come to as a surprise. The only the You can argue the only surprise is they did it without Ja Morant,
Yeah,
but they still had Jaren Jackson. They still had some of their best players on
who I
two of
don't
their best.
trust.
Jaren Jackson does his thing when he's healthy. He's a monster. So nah, I trust him. He just got to stay healthy. That's
Yeah,
the
that's why I say I don't trust somebody. He got to stay healthy.
Yeah. So that's the thing. He's got to stay healthy. So that's the only thing about Jackson. But other than that, he's a that's a great accomplishment. I mean, they broke the record with Cleveland when they had Craig Elo, who every time he goes into a real estate office, somebody says, talks about the time he got dropped off by Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
Uh, Mark Price, who should be in the Hall of Fame. Brad Daugherty, you can argue he should be a Hall of Famer, and then I think Gerald Wilkins was on that team that set the record as well. Uh,
yeah,
I
but they
think
not
Gerald,
shooting.
yeah.
That was the
So
only
I think,
Cleveland team I saw that never shot 3 pointers.
well, Mark Price had a hell of a Mark Price had a hell of a 3-point shot. that boy's 3-pointer was dropping. So I don't know about that one, bro. But okay, but
Yeah.
nevertheless,
Uh-huh.
nevertheless, you're talking about they broke a record that uh arguably that Cleveland team a Cleveland team that said I think the original record was 68, uh, winning by 68 and 91, some shit like that. Which and to make a historical reference, did you know that Cleveland team? Man, shout out fam, MJ's total health and fitness and wellness. What's popping and what's dropping, brother?
What's
Um,
going on, MJ?
to make a
Salute.
historical reference, and shout out to Two Raw for TV. I gotta give that boy his props every time I get on here. That boy knows his shit. But did you know Cleveland during that 91 season was picked to win the NBA championship?
Yeah.
We're talking about Brad Daugherty before he got injured, unfortunately got injured, who played with Michael Jordan his freshman year. So, I mean, eh, man, I mean, for them to do that, that's a hell of an accomplishment right there. To break their record. We're talking about a Cleveland team that year should have been arguably until injury started decimating them, but I don't think they would have ever beat the Bulls but they were picked by Sports Illustrated, the Sports Center, the Sports Channel, and a multitude of other uh, networks to win the championship. So for them to do that, it says a lot about the Grizzlies, and it says that the Grizzlies can compete. But like I say, that's a rivalry game. Oklahoma City is arguably their biggest rival, uh, especially ever since they came to Oklahoma City. So hopefully they at least win a playoff game if they're gonna do all
Yeah.
this, set records like this. So
They just
yep.
got working their offense. Uh, because everybody been saying their offense is stagnant and shit like that. I've been seeing it, but that was an impressive feat. And then something you mentioned about the 90-91 Cleveland Cavaliers picked to win the championship. Uh, then let me look that up. You ever notice every time Sports Illustrated picks somebody to win something, they don't.
Hmm. Yeah.
They don't. They
Yeah, they
don't.
did. Yeah, and MJ's right as well about the Cleveland team. They did challenge the Bulls. They Cleveland was more talented than what people realize. And Craig Elo, Michael Jordan destroyed this dude, and Craig Elo was a hell of a defensive player and a hell of a 3-point shooter when he shot it. When I think Lenny Wilkins was the head coach of that team, so he was
Yeah.
not fond of the 3-point shot like that. So
Oh, but when he got to Atlanta,
yeah, that
he
changed.
he wasn't he wasn't the one coach of the year. He wasn't the one coach of the year, let alone when got them what was it, 800 victories? If it
Right,
wasn't for the 3-point shot.
right.
Because here's something which y'all didn't know. I think it was 95, 96 when the Bulls played Atlanta.
Hmm.
Christian Laettner was giving them hell, man, in the playoffs.
Yes,
And that Atlanta team was giving them hell, man,
right. And
with the 3-point shot. Like,
yeah, Steve Smith and Mookie Blaylock. Man, they could knock down some shots because I think they were
yep,
like number 3 in 3-pointers made that year,
yep.
behind Miami and somebody else I can't think of. But they were like number 3 that year. So yeah, they had some shooters on that team. Believe it or not. But yeah, Cleveland gave, Michael Jordan had scored his highest points against Cleveland, and he had to score that in overtime. He didn't score that in regulation. So that same year, Michael Jordan scored 69 on that Cleveland team. So they they
Let's
they
see.
had they had to he brought it. They brought it to the Chicago Bulls. It's just they were, like I say, they got decimated by injuries. But I don't think they
Okay,
would.
so
Mhm.
I'm looking at the 90-91 Cleveland Cavaliers roster. They finished 33-49.
Right. Right, but that was because they were decimated by injuries. That's
Yep.
the main. That's why.
And then the
That's why
following year, they went
they went to the
57-25.
went to
They
the
beat the
conference
Nets
finals.
3-1, and the Bulls beat them in the conference finals 4 games to 2.
Yeah. Yep. That's correct. But no, they got decimated by injuries that
And
night and one.
despite my
Mhm.
despite my Bulls having the best record in the NBA that year, they played like shit in the playoffs that year.
Well,
I'm
they
admitting they play like shit.
that's because the level of competition was better. Like the New York Knicks not only played dirty, they could score. Like with the bad boy Detroit teams, you probably arguably only had really three good scores. Mark Aguirre, before they traded Adrian Dantley, Joe Dumars, and Isaiah Thomas, arguably. Now, every once in a while,
Right.
Bill Lambier would kick back and pop 7 threes in a game. Every once in a while, but he was not an offensive juggernaut. He was more of a, I wouldn't even say he had great defense because he was more so dirty, but he was a hell of a rebounder. He wasn't really an intimidating force as far as a shot blocker, but he knew how to play dirty and he knew how to. His job was to get into people's head, but he was not what I would call a shutdown defensive player because Akeem Olajuwon bust 50 on his ass. I
Mm-hmm.
think in 1990, some shit like that. Akeem destroyed fucking Bill Lambier, and they had to put Dennis Rodman to win the game. That's how bad Bill Lambier and Patrick Ewing, I think, scored a career high on on Bill Lambier. So he really did not. He was really not a great defensive player by any means because he didn't get no more than a block a game. I think so. He was not that good of a
Mm-hmm.
defensive player, but they knew how to get in motherfuckers' heads. So that's just what it was with Cleveland. But back to my point at hand, not only the Knicks could score, not only the Knicks could play defense, they could score.
Right.
Patrick Ewing could kick ass. Shit, John Starks get hot. It's over for you. Then Xavier McDaniel, he was toward the end of his career, but at any point, McDaniel could bust ass. And on a side note, that's the reason why they traded Scottie Pippen, Xavier McDaniel, and rightfully so. Xavier McDaniel was in his prime at
Yep.
Seattle. He was at the prime of his career, kicking ass with Tom Chambers before they traded away that team. I mean,
Yep.
McDaniel was the truth. So that's the reason why a lot of people don't understand. People always talked about, why Seattle, nigga, you don't know shit about basketball. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Because McDaniel, you see, go to YouTube and look up highlights of
My
Xavier
and then
McDaniel.
everybody thought me Xavier McDaniel was
Mm-hmm.
everybody thought Xavier McDaniel could shoot that motherfucking three.
Mm-hmm.
But then everybody said when he got to the Knicks, they said he said he was stupid in breaking away. And like everybody said that he was dumb as hell for breaking away from that shit. And so he said something about he didn't care what anybody said. Yeah, because he said in Seattle, yeah, I did it all. The Knicks, that was my decision about not. That was up to me. I did what the fuck I wanted to do. And
Right.
then Pat Riley even wanted that man to start shooting, going out there, start shooting some three. Beat
Right.
Xavier McDaniel vote.
Yeah.
Did
McDaniel.
they ever interview him for the on the Last Dance?
I wish they did. I gotta go back and look, but McDaniel was good. I mean, people forget how good Xavier McDaniel was. Anytime you trade away Scottie Pippen, because I don't think Scottie Pippen would have ever. Scottie Pippen was blessed, but to have Michael Jordan.
Yep.
With all this beef he's talking about with Michael Jordan talking that shit, like, dude, bro, you can't even.
Started getting old, man. I mean,
And then he has a history of drug usage too. People forget about that. A lot of
now
this
his
shit he's
that.
saying now,
Yep.
that's
And his
well
bourbon
known.
is selling. I'm
But
happy
still,
for him. His bourbon brand
well,
sell like a motherfucker. But
he does not have to throw Michael
don't
Jordan
throw
under the.
shots at the dude. But don't throw motherfucker. Put like that. What it was something I said a while back on one of my live streams.
Hmm. Go ahead. Go
Don't
ahead.
if a motherfucker if you can't dance worth a shit and somebody taught you how to dance, you become a better dancer. Then don't throw them under the bus.
Exactly. Michael
See, that's what
Jordan.
Scott
Mhm,
Jordan
mhm.
made Pippen a better dancer.
Exactly. Michael Jordan would have won a championship without Scottie Pippen. I'm gonna tell you, he might not have won six, unless they made a trade for Shaquille O'Neal, Patrick Ewing, because there were rumors about them trading Scotty for Tracy McGrady. There was rumors about them trading Patrick Ewing for Scottie Pippen. There was several damn rumors that
And it was a
if
whole
he
bunch
had
of stuff. They was talking about
mhm,
wanting to trade Michael Jordan to the Knicks.
which that would have never happened. I don't think that would have never happened because the Bulls understood MJ was an asset, especially after they killed Tony Kukoc in the Olympics. Scotty and him shut that boy down. They
Yep.
wasn't gonna ever go. They might have talked that shit, but no. Michael Jordan was valuable to the Bulls franchise. He helped Phil Jackson become a better coach because
Excuse me.
he was because he was the for every coach you need an assistant, but Michael was the coach on the court. You know what I'm saying? Because you saw the Last Dance, him cussing out his teammates and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, I
You know,
saw it.
yeah, he was on their ass, and he was an asshole because he expected excellence. And people kind of criticize Michael Jordan. If you ain't ever played sports in your life, you're not
Thank
going
you.
to understand that shit.
Hey, keep
You're
talking. I got to run to Waterloo.
you're not gonna understand that this dude that Michael demands great players demand excellence, and that's
Yeah,
all that
Jimmy.
Michael
Hey,
wanted.
keep talking. I
Yeah,
got to make
I'm
a
gonna
run
talk. I'm
quick.
gonna talk. I'm gonna spit. Yeah, got you. But people don't understand that great players gonna always demand excellence from you, and sometimes it's gonna be to where they become an asshole, be viewed as an asshole. Byron Scott, and shout out to my boy Too Raw for TV. Byron Scott mentioned several times where he wanted to kick Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's ass, coming from uh coming from Arizona State with Alton Lister, who was a pretty decent NBA player. He's more so known for getting dunked on by uh Sean Kemp, but that's a whole nother conversation. But Byron Scott mentioned that kick uh he wanted to kick fucking Magic Johnson in fucking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's ass because the practices was fucking physical. And you got to take this in consideration. The Lakers was considered a finesse team in the 80s. People forget about how finesse that they were considered compared to the NBA. They would have been considered a dirty team in today's NBA. But in that NBA era, they was considered a finesse team. But at practice, oh man, they was on their ass. And Byron Scott mentioned that he wanted to punch Magic Johnson and James Worthy several times. But those guys just demanded excellence. And that's is no different than what Michael Jordan was demanded from Scottie Pippen, what he demanded from B.J. Armstrong, what he demanded from Bill Cartwright, what he demanded from Dennis Rodman. He demanded excellence. That's all he demanded. And for Scottie Pippen to do this to Michael Jordan, it hurts me to see that
Man,
because
it hurts me, man, because it's
yeah,
like,
uh-huh,
I'm like, Scotty, come on, bro. You know,
you
because
talking about
because with the history of him doing drugs, then his I have to use this term loosely.
uh
Then the problems with his wife,
girlfriend,
his shit, well, wife,
wife
girlfriend, whatever the fuck
problems,
she is. You know,
baby
I mean,
mama
come on, man.
problems.
I mean, come on, man.
Right. And he don't have to go that low because Michael went out his way to make this kid good.
Yep.
He saw a poor man's version of himself in Scottie Pippen. Yeah, and he been like, "Hey, you going to be my teammate." That's what he said. Everybody knows you was mentored by don't do your mentor like that. That's the thing. You the one that begged Michael Jordan to come back out of retirement. You begged Michael Jordan to come back out of retirement. This is fact. This ain't me making this up. I mean, this is an indisputable fact. And you never heard Michael Jordan say a bad thing about Scotty. He always say,
Yeah.
Scottie Pippen, we wouldn't win without Scottie Pippen. He did a
And
great
he
job.
always
He's
acknowledged
the best.
Scotty, man.
Yeah, he always, you can say a lot of things about MJ, but you can't say he did Scottie Pippen wrong. You can't. That's one thing you
True.
can't say. And
But
he's
for
looked out
Scotty,
from
but
mhm.
yeah, but for
And
Scotty to, but for Scotty to go back and do that, man,
and
that
and
was
he
just
and he
fucked up.
and and he doesn't have the best reputation himself because
True.
I've told you there was rumors
He
about
acknowledged
him.
that. And he acknowledged that.
Mhm.
He
Yeah,
acknowledged that in the last dance in a way.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
I've told. Yeah, if you're from Chicago, you know what those rumors. I've mentioned that before. He had a run in, and Hoover before he got locked down had to call from. I'm gonna say allegedly, but a lot of people from Chicago would say unallegedly, but
yeah.
he had a run in with one of them G's, and Larry had to like, hold on, this the Chicago Bulls, man. He had to call, had to let him know, like, hey, don't disrespect out here, because Scotty had a history of being an asshole to people. Even people in Chicago would say he said some fuck shit. I'm like, dude, you living in Chicago? This ain't Memphis, nigga.
Yeah, you get. Well,
Man, people will beat
that's
your
why I be
ass out
telling
there.
that's why I be telling people the difference between Chicago and Memphis is this. You say some fuck shit out there in Chicago to the wrong folks, you go get your ass whooped. That's a
Or
lesson.
probably shot. Or probably shot.
Or you gonna get your ass whooped, or you gonna be waking up in the alley butt naked trying to figure out how the fuck you got here.
Exactly. You can't
In
do the
Memphis, you
same thing.
say in Memphis you say some fuck shit. Well, niggas just gonna talk. They gonna talk. They gonna folks in Memphis gonna talk about doing something some goddamn body, but they ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, because the ones that gonna do it, they just gonna pull out their pistol out there in Memphis.
Yep.
They not gonna just, they not gonna say nothing. But nigga from Chicago gonna tell you one time and be like, hey, you really want that
Hey
smoke?
man, you might want to watch yourself out there, man. You better shut your ass up.
Yeah, so
You
nevertheless,
know.
man, nevertheless with Scotty, I just hope he gets his. I want that man to go see a psychologist. Just do us a favor and go see a fucking
Yeah.
psychologist. We not trying to
Mm-hmm.
see no beef between legendary players, man. You messing up your legacy, man. And then you can argue, you can make a case that he wasn't a
Yep.
50 greatest player. You can make a case. You can make a case. I'm gonna tell you why. He got the 50 greatest player nod over Bob McAdoo.
Yep.
He got the 50 greatest player nod over Artis Gilmore.
Yep.
We're talking over Dan Issel,
Yep.
Dominique Wilkins, who arguably was probably the second best player in the NBA behind Michael Jordan. He doesn't have a Michael. He didn't have a rings to show for it, but for him to carry a Atlanta team with Doc Rivers and Spud Webb and you know, a Moses Malone out of his prime. He was still busting people for 20 points, but he was not the Houston Rockets Moses Malone or even the damn Philadelphia Moses Malone.
Yep.
Dominique carried that team. He got a 50 greatest player nod to where Shaquille O'Neal had to make a phone call and told him, I apologize. And Shaq had every reason to be on the 50 greatest player. He already made the NBA finals, made two or three conference finals by the time the 50 greatest players got on there, but he apologized to Dominique Wilkins. He said, I wasn't built, I shouldn't have got on there over Dominique Wilkins. The human, you got the 50 great. I'm glad they put him on the 75 greatest players, but
Yeah.
you could argue that Dominique was a way better player than Scotty. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, I mean, he got the nod over those guys. Now, if you're talking about Scotty as a top 40, top 60, top 70, now we can have a conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But you got nods over players who were already proven. You got nods over Artis Gilmore. Let's just talk about basketball. Before Michael Jordan came to the Chicago Bulls, he was arguably the greatest Bull before Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And Artis Gilmore have the second most offensive rebounds in history. If you include ABA stats. Now, if you include just NBA stats, Robert Parrish is number 2. But if you include the ABA and the NBA, Artis Gilmore, second strongest man in history, was the ABA version of Wilt Chamberlain, had a similar skyhook to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. A lot of people sleep on Artis Gilmore on how good he was. And when he went to the Bulls, he carried the Bulls team by himself. You got a nod over that dude by himself. We can just talk about him all day. Dominique is self-explanatory. You know what I'm saying? And what's
Yeah.
crazy about Dominique? Dominique developed a 3-point shot late in his career. He was more of a mid-range guy, but he developed a 3-pointer that was deadly. You
Yes.
know, that man, just imagine if Dominique had that same 3-pointer early in his career, he probably would have had it like 2000 threes. He didn't really take threes like that, but when he started to, it was like, man, you couldn't stop Dominique. So I
Hell
mean,
no.
but Scotty, put some respect on MJ's name. Just put some respect on that man's name.
Yep.
You saying you just as good as Michael Jordan, that's disrespectful to Jerry West. That's disrespectful to Oscar Robinson. That's disrespectful to Kareem. That's disrespectful to a whole lot of players. Dude, you was a role player, and there's nothing wrong with you being a role player. He
Yep.
couldn't have won without you. He would have won something without you, but he wouldn't have won 6 without you. So just respect that it was Michael Jordan's sidekick, and stop being jealous of the man, because that's where it all comes down to: ego and jealousy. So
That's it.
it is what it is when it comes to that, man. So what's
Yeah.
the next topic we're gonna discuss before we get out of here? Because I gotta start picking up some Texan fans real
Yeah.
quick.
That
You got
makes it
anything else,
do.
or you got
Well,
anything
yeah,
else?
right quick. We had some shit that happened here in South Haven. I'm not gonna say my apartment complex's name.
Hmm.
Jimmy, I don't know if you've been hearing about it, but there were some guys that got killed down in Crenshaw, Mississippi.
Hmm.
Okay. So what they were saying, guys that got killed, stuff like that. Then there was some guns that were stolen. All right, so they looking for this one guy, and they look for the. So they look for the. They've been looking for this one guy for I don't know how long. All right, and they said I'm not gonna say the guy's name because how some of these little stupid ass so called young thug niggas be talking about some man y'all some police ass niggas. No, we ain't nobody police around nothing. If you know your boy done fucked up, he fucked up. You know. So they looking all for this man. In Horn Lake. They said he known to be in Horn Lake and was in South Haven. So somebody, South Haven PD and folks that got a tip, had got a singular quote tip by saying he was over here at the apartment complex. Okay. So, standard procedures there when they get with the manhunt, they were evacuating everybody, they gotta get everybody they gotta get everybody 50 feet away from the vicinity.
Right.
Okay. So they did all that. We waiting. Next thing we know, we heard a loud boom. So we heard a boom. So I'm thinking like, oh, okay, they must got him or whatever. Nope, they didn't. So to make a long story short, the residents that they were tipped off where he was at, they blew his door open, ransacked the resident's apartment, looked for the guy. The resident also had a camera, one of the little doorbell cameras. Said the police took it off, and then said that like I said, protecting us, strength of anatomy, strength, confidentiality. I talked with the resident, and they had told me that South APD went through his phone because he had his phone connected to the camera. Went through his phone. He had an iPhone now. They hacked through his phone and deleted all the footage that was on his phone.
Right.
Okay. Now they put one of them little pop bombs on there to blow the door open. Now one of the police chiefs were given a key, and he told them, "Him a key, man. Y'all can go in and do that without doing all that other stuff." These dumbasses announced on the radio that we got a key, we can go in, but they blew the door open anyway.
Right.
You ain't supposed to announce. If you're in law enforcement, if you got a Trump card, don't announce it on the damn radio. You tell people, hey, walk up to them, hey, stand down, cut that off. We got some. That's it. So, um, so to make a long story short, the resident the resident and South Haven PD in the city of South Haven, they finna have a nice little talk. They finna have some nice legal talk. Let's put it like that. Cause then the chief admitted they got a bad tip that the guy was there. All along, the motherfucker was at the damn apartments where they last saw him at, buying his chance for an escape. And then they said folks was hearing the man coming through he jumping fences and everything. And they said, and one neighbor said he heard him. Matter of fact, let me tell you before what he did. I'm gonna tell you to say the best for last. Tell you what this dumbass nigga did after this shit happened Thursday, Jimmy.
Right.
So they said when this dumbass fool on the run and shit, he jumping fences and said one of the guys said he heard early in the morning his shed door closed. And I'm like, okay, nigga, you heard it close. Motherfucker, you heard this shit close. You didn't have common sense to get your ass up to see what the fuck was going on. See, people don't think these days, man.
Nah.
Had that been us, one of us, we getting our ass fuck up, taking our ass out there. Gonna tell Jimmy, you gonna tell your girl, hey, call the damn police. We got a fucking prowl over here. And then you get somebody, hey, get your shit.
Right.
You see what the fuck it is, man. You been blown that person's ass off. Or told, man, get your motherfucking ass down. Or something, And see, the folks out in the Horn Lake didn't have no goddamn system of it, especially that person. If he knew who the fuck was in there, why he didn't get his ass up to see what the fuck was going on?
Right.
But then when he went outside and they said that he noticed there was a hole, that was dug up, and it was a gun, and it was stolen, and it was a stolen gun. Now the young nigga that they looking for, this motherfucker gets on fucking on Facebook and talking about some, I'm not innocent about this and that. And then the South Haven PD said, well, okay, well, why don't you please get in contact with South Haven police and share the story? So how about over 100 people reacted to that with a laughing emoji?
Dummy.
100 people, dummies. 100 people gonna react to that shit with the laughing emoji. Okay, motherfucker, if you innocent, why the fuck you running? Guilty man only run, kid. Or I'm gonna call him as he is, little boy. And you talking about you want to be a aspiring rapper? You innocent, but you running. Little boy, please. You're a fucking coward.
Yeah.
You a coward. You talking about I'm innocent, but motherfucker, you running. You can't run it. You can't run all everywhere in the Horn Lake forever now. South Haven already.
Yeah, and they already got a similar camera system to the Memphis police department. So no, you ain't gonna be able to run too far out there. Not out there.
Hell no.
So, if
and
they
you can't
want,
go to South Haven, and if you try to get to South, you try to get to Memphis. Oh, they already on you. They already know how the fuck you look.
right? You're out of there. So he just his best bet is to probably turn himself in. And that's his best bet at this point.
So like I said, that young man and everybody that all reacted to that, they stupid. And the little boy that called himself being a man, he's stupid. If you innocent, you would have turned your fucking self in. But you running though. And then you hide weapons. And then they said when they got the weapon, when they put the dust off the prints and everything, they said his prints was on that motherfucker. And the damn gun was stolen from Tunica, Mississippi. So how you innocent?
Yeah.
So that's why I said and for all young dudes, all call yourself want to be in the streets and want to be about that street life and the rap game and all that shit. This is my best advice to you. Quit while the fuck you. Quit while the fuck you ahead.
Right.
That's all I gotta say. So, but other than that, man, I ain't got nothing.
Yeah, I'm finna go on and get out of here, man. And I'll see y'all later, man. And this your boy, live and direct in full effect out to 832 with my boy out to 662. And y'all already know how we do. Peace out and be safe out there.
And the pleasure's been all yours.
Peace.